One.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, welcome back to the Future Marketer webinar presented by Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. Now, for all of you who are joined in for the second day for the webinar series and the episode number 2, you don't need much of introduction. We have discussed in detail last week, but nevertheless, for those of you who have joined in today new, I just need to quickly give you a debrief of what we are doing, why we are doing, and who we are, and what is the sole purpose and the objective behind this webinar series. As most of you know, Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, the popularly known as SLIM, is a national body of marketing in Sri Lanka. Since our inception in 1970, we have been empowering, inspiring, and motivating local marketers. Not only that, we were helping them to broaden their horizons and contribute back to the betterment of the local economy. That I want to remind you, economic prosperity is the mandate of Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, and us marketers have a large and a huge responsibility to drive the economic prosperity of this country forward. In that note, the above webinar series is our latest effort in creating a platform to bring together the local and the international industry experts. Let me remind you this word. We are looking at the local and the international industry experts to share the best in class knowledge, emerging trends and themes, and case studies and experience for your benefit, to benefit the local marketers and support you in understanding the ever-changing marketing landscape, the ever-changing marketing dynamics to become a future-ready marketer. So, on that note, I want you to give you a little bit on what this future-ready marketer is all about. This is the second phase of the national campaign that Slim launched last year. So Future Ready Mark Sri Lanka is a phase 2 of Restart Sri Lanka, which is a national endeavor that Slim took the lead to driving it forward. The objective behind this program is to create a national campaign to challenge dependent, risk-averse mentality of our marketers and the entrepreneurs and the corporate mindset, and to enforce an entrepreneurial innovative mindset, because you would agree with me, with the right skills and knowledge to drive Sri Lanka towards economic prosperity, we need to challenge our status quo. So the key emphasis is to change the traditional Sri Lankan mindset, especially within the marketers, and to look beyond the outdated, obsolete marketing thinking patterns, and also to emphasize about innovative thinking, innovative mindset with enhancements of skill and knowledge. So with the slogan of empowering the nation with knowledge, I would like to introduce the speaker today, a slightly different speaker, but a very special character, a very unique character. Now, I want to talk about this gentleman, but before that, I want to really tell this gentleman who is going to talk to you that he is one of the local heroes that who have emerged to an international stage, being a Sri Lankan, coming from the very roots of Sri Lanka, and he is now today one of the big one of the big names in this platform that he's going to talk about. So he is a Microsoft MVP in artificial intelligence. Now, even I did not know what MVP stands for, but since our technology is today our discussion is all about technology, I wanted to know, for all of you to know, what this MVP stands for. MVP stands for Most Valuable Professional in Artificial Intelligence. Now, this has been given to him by the Microsoft, is a status. And he is a graduate researcher at La Trobe University in Australia, and currently reading for his PhD on deep learning and collaboration of Australian Institute of Sports. Now, this gentleman serves as an independent consultant in the domain of AI, popularly known as artificial intelligence, with research and hands-on expertise in machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, and developing intelligent applications. He's been career highlights are awarded as a Microsoft MVP 5 times in a row, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. If 5 times in a row he has become the Microsoft MVP, so we have a great expert. Use his knowledge, use his inspirations, and clarify all your doubts. I want to give you a reminder in the outset now. In while the conversation is going on, please type in your questions and answers. Don't wait till the end so that you have a great opportunity to clarify your thoughts. Please welcome Haritha Thilakarathne, a Microsoft MVP on AI. He is talking to us all the way from Australia. Haritha, the stage is over to you.
Thank you, Aruz, and good evening, all of you. And it's my pleasure to get the stage here on Future Ready Marketers today in talking about AI and how the AI can be leveraged with marketing and the things that related to that. So let's get started with the session on AI-infused marketing mix for better ROI. So as Aruz said, I'm working as a graduate researcher at La Trobe University here in Melbourne, Australia. So my research areas are computer vision, deep learning, and sports analytics mostly. So I work as an independent consultant on data science and machine learning. And as he said, I too awarded as a Microsoft MVP in a row for 5 times. So that's all about me. So that's all, and we'll move forward with the session and see how actually artificial intelligence can be leveraged in marketing. That's your area. And what are the benefits that you can get from AI when you want to make this your marketing campaigns and everything in a better and most profitable and valuable or the sustainable ROI. Everyone is talking about AI. So AI has been, I would say, one of the most popular words in these years. So everyone is telling, okay, we have to use AI and the future is going to be AI. Everyone is talking about AI. So what actually the AI is that still a science fiction, or is that a real thing, or like what actually AI is? I'm pretty sure like some of you guys have a very good idea on this matter, but some might not have a very good idea. So I'll give you a brief introduction, not in very technical terms. So I'm going to reduce most of my technical jargons because I used to use a lot of technical jargons, but I'll try my best to reduce those things and go with more like understandable and interpretable terms. Yes, AI is not a science fiction. If you look around the place that you live on, you can see applications that use artificial intelligence. The self-driving cars and the Google Assistant that you have in your home, or the Google Assistant that you use on your mobile phone or on your iPhone, the Apple Siri or something like that, all these applications use artificial intelligence in some form. If you search for Boston Dynamics, a Alphabet company or a Google owned company, they are developing robots that you might think this is science fiction. The robot that I have here in the screen is one of the robots they have built recently that can help in most of the industrial needs. These applications are some of the key areas that artificial intelligence is serving and currently applying in today's industry. This one is a pretty interesting one. So I know some of you might be gamers playing games, online games and all. So Dota 2 is one of the most complex and one of the most popular games out there in the market. So recently, the Boring company, which is owned by Elon Musk, built an AI which beated the world champion of Dota 2. That means this AI that Elon Musk and the team has built has beaten the human champion. That means that is one area, even the AI is surpassing the powers that humans are having. So is that giving a sense like, okay, that means AI is something destructive or something that we can't control? No, I don't think so. So we'll say why I'm telling that is not going to be something that we can't control or something that can be destructible, something in Terminator, a film like that. Yeah. So I use the term AI, and you might wonder, okay, we have heard a lot of terms: AI, machine learning, data science, business intelligence, business analytics. Yeah, many terms are like that there in the normal industry. So I'll give a bit of like a story how this all began, right? So this is going to be a bit of a story kind of thing. AI is not a new thing. It actually got its birth back in like 1950s. In the 1950s, people were talking about thinking machines, or they were talking about something called Tin Man or the robots uh, in science fictions. So till like 1950s, people have been developing computer algorithms, or like computer science based algorithms that can solve problems based on procedural instructions. That means you can give a set of instructions for the computer or a machine, and the machine gives you an output. So that's the things that we had back in like 1950s. So people thought, okay, we now have the machines that work with the instructions that we give. What if we have the ability to give the machines the power of thinking, or power of taking decisions by their own? So that is where the thinking came in, and people thought, okay, if a machine can learn from the experiences and they can understand the environment around him, so that is going to be an artificial intelligence. So that's where the concept of artificial intelligence came in. Back in like 1950s, you might heard of a famous scientist called Alan Turing. So Turing actually gave a proper introduction and a definition for AI. Sadly, he died in a very tragic manner. So with him, most of the uh, concepts that came out with him let let die with him. So it was back in like 1950s. People came up with the concepts. Then it came a long way till like 1980s. People thought of, okay, how the machines can get this intelligence, or how the machine can learn from the experiences. So the experiences in the computer science world is the data that we have. Data is the numbers, or data might be the text. Data might be the things that we see or hear. Everything is data. So the experiences that machine can learn or get the experiences are from this data. And in this era, by like in 1980s, people thought of, okay, to understand the patterns and everything, or the relationships in this data, we can use something we have been using for years and decades. That was statistics. And by like in 1980s, people came to the scenario where they developed some set of algorithms that were known as machine learning algorithms, which can learn the patterns inside the data, that can understand the data, or that can learn from that data. Those algorithms which had the ability to learn something from the prevailing data was called as machine learning algorithms. So how this AI and machine learning connects? So AI is the vast or the big term. Inside the big term AI, machine learning is a subcomponent. Inside machine learning, there are many algorithms that has been powered by statistics and other mathematical concepts. So in that time, people thought of, okay, how human is thinking. Human is thinking with our brain, which is having neurons. So people thought of giving these neurons a mathematical equation. So in that case, people gave the birth for the artificial neural network, which is a mathematical definition for the neurons that we have in our brain. In our brain, we have like millions and billions of neurons that are interconnected as networks. But like getting some of the power of them and getting some of the influence of them, people gave the birth for a particular set of science called deep learning. So, or the deep neural networks that can mimic how the human brain is working. So to be clear, artificial intelligence is the vast big term, And inside artificial intelligence, we have the machine learning algorithms that can learn from the data. So inside machine learning, we have a particular set which is called deep learning, which is the most popular AI application that we see today, which is mimicking how the human brain is working. So the facial recognition systems that you see on your iPhone, or the voice recognition systems that Google is having, everything is based on these deep learning based algorithms. But don't get it wrong. Deep learning is not the only way of doing artificial intelligence. There are many other ways. Or deep learning is not the only machine learning algorithm. But these three are interconnected. So get the picture like this. So AI, you have machine learning inside AI, and inside machine learning, you have deep learning as a subcomponent, but which is the most popular right now in this era. Right. I guess you are pretty clear on that. And you might wonder, I said like learn from data. How that happened? How someone is going to learn from data? Yeah, the case is this. Get a simple example of how a human child is learning. So what we do is we show a picture of a dog for a child and say, Puta, this is dog. And we show a picture of a cat or an actual cat for our kid and say, Chudi Puta, this is a cat, like that. So after some time, after seeing 10, 15, 20, might be 100 dogs and cats, the child is able to identify which is a dog and which is a cat. That's the same with these machine learning or the deep learning algorithms. We input them a set of images or like set of data. In this case, the example I got is to like images. We show thousands and thousands of data points for these algorithms and ask them to identify the patterns behind them. And with those patterns, they can identify which label that goes to. This is only one example where AI is emerging and how AI is working. Right. That's all about the theories on AI. That's the area that I expertise in, I work on. Marketing is a complete new area that I'm learning even. You are the experts in marketing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some ideas that how you can use these power of AI in terms of making your marketing campaigns or making your marketing strategies more powerful, more attractive, and more sustainable, and to give a better ROI. Right, we'll move forward. And in these cases, you might have more better idea in marketing concepts and those things than me. Yeah. In the term of marketing, like marketing started a very long way back. In the way back in like in the BCs where people put some billboards, like some painted billboards, and everything was also marketing. And keeping a set of fruits in the fruit stall in a very attractive way is a way of marketing, as I say. So that era evolved to the era that we have right now, the social media era. We all talk about social media. Social media has become the main marketing channel that we have to use. And everyone is on that. Even the main media channels are struggling to compete with these things. So we have to get some new strategies to cope up with these new channels that we have and new strategies that we have to build in order to do a proper marketing campaigns and everything. So we'll see how we gonna do that thing and what we can do in this space. So like, like when we designing a marketing campaign, if there's no ROI on that, why are we doing this thing? So is there a need of doing like we'll say you print thousands of posters and stick up that thing in every nook and corner in the country, and does that going to make a better ROI? The millions that you're going to spend on the posters and everything, or the human resource that you're going to leverage there, is that actually going to make a difference? I don't think so. So people are not that stupid, I would say. So you have to go forward with some strategic plans. Yes, in that case, I would say you have the best asset in yourself. What is that best asset? Data. So I know there are many industrial professionals out there, many marketing managers, marketing professionals, uh, C-level people, and everyone is out there. You you are having this wealth in yourself. You have been using and you have been storing data day by day in your computers or might be in your databases. These data might be the sales data or might be how a particular product has been delivered for the customers in a particular set of time. There are many sets of data out there. So in using AI for marketing, the resource or the only thing you have to have is a rich set of data. So I'm pretty sure most of you are currently having this leverage of having a rich set of data in you. So, we'll say a retail store. In a retail store, you have the daily sales has been recorded in your POS system in a database. Have you ever used that thing in a profitable way? Have you ever think of what we can do on this data just without archiving those things every day? Have you think what we can do with those data repositories? No, right? So I'll give you some ideas that you can use and how you can use this data in with AI to make more attractive things. Yeah. So this is the only slide I have some text, right? So why AI with marketing? What you can do actually? So the first point I make is you can gain a deeper understanding on your consumers. So at the end of the day, everyone is trying to sell something for a consumer, sell a product or a service. So one thing you need is you have to have a good behavioral understanding on these consumers. You have to go to their shoes and see how they think and how they behave. That is the thing that marketers should have. And you should have the ability to create consumer profiles on top of that. That's where the marketing professionals get the ability to even sell a refrigerator to Greenland, right? So in the terms of data you have the ability to use these AI algorithms or the machine learning algorithms to gain deep understanding on your consumers. And the next thing is know your sales better. You are doing your products, you are doing your services, and have you ever think of, is this marketing campaigns I do is making a progress with my sales? We'll say you spend $5,000 on your marketing campaigns and you doing the sales only for like $2,000. Is that worth? I don't think so. So one thing you can use is this AI or the machine learning algorithms to do sales predictive analytics. And the next thing is the most important thing. Give a new shape for your campaigns. One thing is effective target marketing. This is pretty simple and pretty common. It's something like this. You search on some cool garments on internet, and within seconds, those garments are coming into your Facebook profile as advertisements. And you search a lot on vehicles, and the vehicle advertisements started popping out on YouTube. So that is effective target marketing. So they know that you are interested in something and they use that data to make recommendations onto you. And the next thing is personalized content generation. So in most of the cases I have seen some of the content that even I can't read. So that means we'll say I'm not familiar with a language like French, and it is a waste of showing me the content that is in French, right? So you should have the ability to create contents or the automate the content generation based on those consumer profiles. And the next thing is AI powered digital marketing campaigns. Have you ever seen some clothing stores right now having like their virtual environments that you can actually put the clothes in or actually put the shoes in and see? So those are some pretty cool AI based inventions right now happening in the marketing arena. Yes. And the last one I'm going to discuss is about chatbots. I know like many of you have questions on chatbots, so we'll have a discussion how actually chatbots work and what actually the chatbots are doing. Yes, I said previously, you have to know your consumer and you have to know how the consumer is thinking, and you need to have an ability to create the consumer profiles. So in that case, one of the major advantage you are having is the loyalty programs that you have. I know most of the industries right now are having the loyalty programs. They collect every swipe that we do. That means we'll say I go for Cargill's or like a retail store like that, a department store like that, and get my groceries every week. And my loyalty card or my loyalty card account knows what actually I bought and what is my buying pattern. So in that case, after analyzing these data, they can put me into a particular category, whereas a we'll say a man in his late 20s buying like hell. So they can make a profile like that, and they can give the content or the advertisement that can impress me and that can make me buy more things. So that is a very good example of using machine learning algorithms where we use on targeting campaigns and recommending campaigns. And the next thing I was talking about, the data. I'm pretty sure most of you have used Excel. Almost all have used Excel, and almost all have made charts like this. And most of you have get these charts into your month end presentation for your director board and talked about your total revenues, total expenses, profit, losses, and all, right? So after that day, what you do for these charts and everything, I don't know. So most people don't use. I have seen in most of the companies that I work with, like when I ask like what do you do for your saving data, that means like they spend thousands of dollars on like just archiving the data. They just store the data every day and day. And I was asking, after storing this much of data, how many years have you been like loading this data? One company said we were storing the data for 20 years. I was like, okay, that's nice. So that means like you have a lot of data, right? They were like, yeah, we have terabytes of data. So have you accessed the data that you have stored 15 years back? No. And have you got any advantage from that data? No. So that is the pathetic part. So you can use this historical data in order to plan your marketing campaigns and see to which areas your products should go forward with and which products that has been not uh, uh, performed well in a particular time. We'll say in Australia, the winter comes in June and July. So we'll say you make some summer clothes and export it to Australia in June and July. It's not going to sell. So those patterns can be identified by these machine learning algorithms easily from this data that you have for like years. That's pretty easy. So those things need to be considered when you're making and planning your marketing campaigns. So that's the stories that I can give forward. And like one thing is like this story is pretty cool. This is a bit old, like 2018 case study. You all know about Starbucks. Starbucks is one of the most popular coffee franchises out in the world, but not in Australia here. So Starbucks was able to increase their organic revenue by 21% year over year compared to an average of 12% without predictive analytics. What they have done is they have created this loyalty card program And for the screen where you order your Starbucks on your Starbucks store in your app. And what they have done was they have created a personalized interface. Think of a personalized ATM interface for their customer, and that have increased 21% of their revenue. So you might get an idea here. It's like my colleagues from banking industry, you might be able to create something like a personalized ATM interface for your customers, right? So that would be pretty cool. I would love to go for that. Yeah. So we'll see. So don't be a dinosaur. Get your data out. Read what the data is all about and make some predictions from that. And use those predictions to plan your marketing campaigns. Just don't waste your money on like some wasteful manner. So upgrade for predictive analytics and attach those predictive analytics with marketing campaigns, and you will get a very good ROI. I'm pretty sure on that. Yes, we touched this thing a bit. Recommender systems. So think of Amazon or eBay. So you go to buy, we'll say, you go to buy a mobile phone. Nah, mobile phone is not a thing that you buy on Amazon, right? That's a luxurious item. So we'll say you go to Amazon to buy a book, right? You buy the most popular book, the Alchemist from Pablo Coelho from Amazon, and they suggest a set of books that has been bought by other people uh, and suggest you to buy those things. There's a like 60% chance of that user is going to buy another book from them. A 60% chance. That means they have put all the consumers into buckets. So they are telling the people from this bucket who has bought this particular item has the tendency of buying these set of items too. That is called a market, like segmenting the market and giving those things to the particular set of customers. So those are recommender systems that you can easily add for your marketing campaigns, as well as your process of getting these things into the customers. You might think, okay, to make these things, I need to have a very big IT company who's having a very good ability on AI and those things, and it would be pretty costly. No, my friends, it's not that hard. So right now there are many services out there like Amazon, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform. All these people are giving these services that can be leveraged as like services. I would say platforms as services. So in the cloud platform, you don't need to build those things from the scratch. What you have to do is you have to just go and see what you can do from them, and you can leverage those things in your applications, because I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with these e-commerce applications and all, and you might have those applications in your industry. So what you have to do is you have to just think of getting these things as services and integrate those things into your applications and make those things more intelligent. So that's not that hard, right? This case study that I'm going to talk about is something very interesting, and this has been developed. A prototype of this has been developed in Sri Lanka back in 2016 by a team from University of Malta, and they got a prize in Microsoft Imagine Cup also. Yeah, the concept is like this. You know the cameras that you have in your machine, or like in most of the places, uh, in malls or in department stores, you have your surveillance cameras even. uh, with the power of AI, another thing what you can do is you can understand the emotions of people, or like whether they have angry or whether they are happy, and you can get the demographics of the people in front of the camera too. So like whether they are males or whether they are females, or like whether they are kids, everything can be detected from the AI or the computer vision based algorithms. So think of a scenario. You have a department mall, and you have a camera there, and the camera is able to understand who's in front of that camera, what you can do? Think for a second. You can make a very good and a very efficient marketing campaign. This is something that Mcas or the McDonald's did. What they have done was they have uh, got the camera input from a bus stand, and they have also got the temperature reading and say, okay, if the temperature is go up, so 27 is like a hot day in London. Yeah, I know, like London is always gloomy. So they have thought of, okay, if it is 27, right, you will pop up and show a Sunday or something like that. But if the temperature is somewhere around 0 or like 2, is this body is going to show uh, like a ice cream there? No, they'll show some hot fries or some hot coffee, something like that. So that is making your billboards and everything adapt according to the crowd they have there. This is a very pretty cool concept. I know some of the stores here also using this concept on making these billboards. That's a very pretty cool thing that AI has come into the space of marketing. Yes. The next thing is about the chatbots. I said I'll talk a bit on chatbots and how they work and what they actually do. You might think chatbot is an AI. So no, chatbot is not actually an AI. Some people might not be agree with me, but in my terms, a chatbot is not actually an AI, but chatbot is having some abilities that has got the power from machine learning and those algorithms. Chatbot is actually an interface where you deal with the person in a more personalized manner. So think of the days where we had the command line interfaces where we deal with our computers, like, you know, the typing the thing like cd double dot and those things. Yeah, those things went back, and then we had normal click the click interfaces where we have windows and where we can drag and drop the things, and that came out. And that switched into the touch interfaces where we only have the touch screens right now. We don't have any buttons right now. We only have touch screens. Then if you think of the younger generation, uh, how many of them are actually using the mobile phone to call? No, right? But ask from one of the person there and see how many chatting apps that they are having. So they have WhatsApp, they have Messenger, and they have Snapchat, uh, also for the photos, and Telegram, Signal, everything is there. So everyone is on those chatting applications. Everyone is doing like chatting. So people thought of, okay, how we can integrate these commercial applications into these chatting applications. There came the birth of the chatbots. What the chatbot is doing is chatbot is understanding the natural language that we put into uh, their chat interface, and that gives an automated answer for that. So what you have to do is you have to make like automated flow of doing the thing, and it'll walk you through the process. In most of the cases, chatbots are very efficient in customer relationship management and maintaining and giving some troubleshooting ideas for the customers. But I have seen one of the most popular telco companies in Sri Lanka has developed a chatbot which is lacking a very important component, which is the human handoff. Chatbots cannot be efficient or cannot be user friendly without a human handoff, because they are having a limit of understanding natural language. We'll say a person is having their own personalized and a complex problem. In that case, chatbot can't understand that. So in that case, they should have the ability to transfer that query into a human agent, right? Till then, chatbot can work there. So many industries has proven they can cut off like 40% of their workload by giving the chance of chatbots to deal with their customers and all. So you may think this is all about customer relationship management. How that affect for marketing? I'm pretty sure if you say we are having a chatbot in our for our company, or we are having a chatbot for our product, people would definitely love that thing. People will definitely go for that thing just to check how that is working. So that is marketing, right? So uh, if you have like a product to sell or a service to tell, and if you want to maintain a proper customer relationship, I strongly suggest you to go for chatbots and like get the power of leveraging this natural language understanding with the chatbots out there. Yeah, this is the last case study that I'm going to get here. So this is a project that has been done by Cognizant, one of the most popular IT companies out there. So what they have done was like you know, in the marketing agencies you have this pretty big headache of duplicating your content, right? So many people copy your things. So in that case, you have to put some effort on identifying who has stolen your content and who has duplicated your content and those things. So what these people has done, they needed to identify where your marketing bombs has been duplicated, or the advertisements has been duplicated or like slightly changed and put into the public. So what they have done was they have collected all these data and they have built some machine learning algorithms or the machine learning models which can identify the similar cases. So this thing previously has been done by humans, right? And they have found out by using AI or the machine learning models to find out these similar advertisement cases and all is saving 62% of their time and 40% cut on the labor cost. So they are processing approximately 1 million videos for each month. So that's a huge amount. Like, I don't think a human workforce which is less than 50 or something can do this thing in 1 month, right? So this is where the power of AI comes in. So you might think, okay, you talked about a lot of things and like what is actually AI is capable of? Yes, AI is capable of these things. Understanding complex patterns of data, understanding images, videos, sounds, and voices and everything, and classifying things, giving the predictions for the future. These are the things that AI is, or the machine learning or the AI space is capable of. So when you planning your marketing campaigns in the future, what you can do is you can get these powers into your campaigns when you're planning the thing. As I said previously, the main thing you have to do is get the data out from your repositories, get the data out from your databases and see what are the patterns they have and plan your marketing campaigns on that. And then after that, get some power of chatbots or something like that smart cloth fitting stores and those things. Yeah, think out of the box and design something on top of that. And that will definitely give you an extra step forward with your competitors in the making of creating more effective, sustainable, and good marketing campaigns and everything with a better ROI. So that's where the AI power is coming on, and that's all about that I had to share. But I'm pretty sure you'll have a lot of questions out there, and I'm open for the questions.
Thank you, Haritha. Thank you very, very much. I think it was definitely a very fresh perspective. And I think when I say fresh, it's about listening from an IT expert. to see how each of these technologies can then be adapted to marketing is very refreshing, because of the fact that many marketers out there, it's very difficult to strip the idea off from a very technical perspective, and therefore we sometimes miss out on the right concept and the right ideas behind AI or any of those related technologies. So thank you very much for trying to present it as bare as possible, so that we have clarity, and the marketers who's joined connected today also have a lot of clarity. So on that note, that we have, I'll jump into the questions now. Obviously, I have few questions. I myself have multiple questions, but I want to start off with some of the questions that is coming in. I start off with the first anonymous question. It asks you that if I want to make someone to advertise on my website, will they ask for my Google Analytics data? I'll repeat the question. If I want to make someone to advertise on my website, will they ask for my Google Analytics data?
Yes, in some cases, yes, because when it comes to advertising in your website, you need to have a good ranking on Google. So the ranking on Google or the ranking on the search engines make your price, or the make your price that you can put on the advertisement. In that case, they'll ask for your Google Analytics or the insights on your traffic and everything. Like from which countries the traffic is coming in and how many organic visitors are coming on, and those things are the things that normally advertisers ask for.
Yeah, I hope that answered your question. And I have another anonymous question that is also asking about what's the fastest way to learn AI for marketing for a young, passionate marketer. Do you recommend any courses on this line?
Yes. So this is one of the like most popular questions I get every day. So how to learn AI and all. So I would say the best way to start off with is with self-learning. And as a marketer, I would suggest to go start with data analysis first. So in that case, the things that I would suggest is, I know most of the people out there are using the tools like Power BI, Tableau, and those things to visualize data. So that would be the the elementary like stage that you can start off with, and then in order to get an idea on like the AI concepts and all, there are many pretty good courses in Coursera and Udemy that you can follow off. So those would be very good places to start off with.
Right. Thank you, Haritha. Haritha, I'm also going in for a slightly a detailed question. So I'm going to read this for you from Sanat. It is asked about everybody perceives that AI presents a plethora of opportunity to comprehend the evolving consumer, but the pandemic has completely changed the customer behavior dynamics. Now, in such circumstances, do you think AI could actually make a prediction about the future consumer behavior and the demands? A very
That's
interesting question.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because this is one of the things that we are right now having in our tables. So in the past, like we'll say we'll go for a simple term. We'll say you have a bar chart that has been like plotting all the sales that has been done for like 10-15 years, and for the past 2 years the sales has gone up and down, and you can predict those things. But AI is capable of handling those anomalies. So AI is capable of understanding the patterns in a very short time of period. So there are some techniques that has been developed to understand those quick, we'll say the fads and those things. So that can be a leverage to get an idea on how the sales and all those things going on in these uncertain areas. So I would say this is not going to make like a 90% accurate prediction, but in that case you can go for something more than 60 or 70%, which is much more better than going with like just a wild guess.
So Haritha, building on that same question, so do you think that there is a shift in the accuracy that what AI could predict say before pandemic, and then the whole the dynamics have shifted so fast that there is a shift. There could be a shift, a probable shift in the accuracy in itself in terms of predictions. Would you agree with
Yes.
that?
Yeah, there is, because that shift that we have is there every day. I would say, we'll say we have the sales data for like 15, 20 years. You can say the models that you have built and trained 5 years back is not going to perform as well as the day they have built in today. So what you have to do is, normally what we call that thing in data term is data skew. So
Right.
what you have to do is you have to understand the data skew and you have to retrain your models based on data skews. So that is an iterative process that you have to do. So many people think when they have built their AI or the predictive models, they think they're going to last for 10, 20 years. That's not going to happen. So you might need to retrain those models and give these models more data and make them updated, maybe like once a month or might be like once in 2 months. That need to be there. So that process, we call that thing called ML ops, or the machine learning operations. So that is a new concept coming in based on these like uncertain and like rapidly changing patterns on data.
Right. So, Haritha, I think I have few other questions, but I'm little curious to take a very general point of discussion. Now, we spoke about. I mean, in your presentation, you spoke about the advancement that AI is making. Right. Now, a lot of fads have come and gone, Haritha. If you look at the last decade or so, a lot of buzzwords came in. It was there. It was all the talk of the town, and then it went disappeared. Right. Now, my question to you is, I mean, why do you think AI is here to stay? It's not a fad anymore. It's not like a buzzword that will disappear in the next couple of years. Why do you think AI is here to stay? What's your answer on that?
Yeah, the most simple the answer that I can give is data, because
Okay.
people would not stop collecting data and
Right.
storing those data, and people would not stop creating data. Every second that we are using our mobile phones, we are creating megabytes of data.
Right.
So in order to interpret these like huge amount of data, we need to have a technology, or we need to have an approach to analyze this data. In order to analyze these huge amount of big data, the science that we have is AI and those related technologies.
Right. So, if I am to rephrase, is it correct if I say, as long as there is data, there will be AI?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that I think is a very strong point as to for me to be convinced as why AI is here to stay. So thank you, Haritha, on that. But having said that, Haritha, we feel like Sri Lankan context. I mean, I'm trying to center the conversation around the Sri Lankan marketers because I think it's very important that we create relevancy for them. Now, why is that? Like, I mean, I also been a marketer in this country. I've now deal with a lot of marketing fraternity people, but everyone talks of AI as if it seems very far away. Why is that? That AI is so important, and why do we have a mentality that AI is far, far away? Maybe it take another 20, 30 years for it to hit Sri Lanka. Is it true, or is that the right thought process to have?
I don't think it's going to get like 20, 30 years. It has been there already. I'm pretty sure in Sri Lanka also many of the industries are using AI or like machine learning based things for making their sales better. And I know most of the companies out there are developing AI applications to the local markets as well as for the international markets. So the way that people see that thing might be because people think, all right, if it is AI should have the ability to make a robot that can do everything. So that's not going to happen. We talk that like we define that thing as like a general AI or something that we see on the science fictions. That's not going to happen in like 20, 30 years. But like more specific applications in AI, we'll say AI based automated farming system or AI based ticketing system, or those things are going to be there. So those things are already there. Some of the agriculture farms are using artificial intelligence to make their crops better. So that's already there. So the major thing that we have to get off from our mind is that mindset of that general AI, where like a god like AI thing which can do everything. That's not going to happen in like 20, 30 years. But like specific purpose built AI is going to be there, and it's already there.
Yeah, so I think that's something I wanted to really get out of people's mindset, because this notion of AI is not very relevant for us, is something that I think it's time that we really take a very realistic standpoint on that. I mean, on along with that, these are the challenges that we have. I see in the marketers' minds, Haritha, and that's why I'm really drilling deep into these questions. The other challenge and other question mark that we have is, you know, AI means it's a lot of money, and it's an expensive affair. Now the question is it all worth it? Can we defend the ROI? Do we really need to put that money behind an AI? So what's your view, and how would you approach for such a mindset or such challenges that we have in our minds?
Yes. So I have seen this question comes a lot from SMBs. So SMBs are having a very tight budget on their research and development, and they think this AI is all about R&D, and we have to have a big R&D department which like brings money and gives you nothing. So no, that's not the case. There are many services out there that you can just leverage as, we'll say, getting something like getting electricity and paying an electricity bill. So there are many services out there, as I said previously. Many big companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, they have provided some platforms as services where you can use the things like AI as service. So the
Right.
example I showed you, that a computer vision model where they have understand the emotions and all. So you can go for internet and you can just get like in the technical terms just a REST API, which means you put an image for some service as uploading for the Facebook, and that will give you these outputs in milliseconds. So those things are not that uh, expensive, and leveraging those things are not that expensive, and that will definitely give you a better ROI. So the expenditure that you make is not going to be a waste.
Right. So you were saying that even for SMEs, even for without much of a budget, you can get ahead with or get started with AI. There's enough and more solutions that will cater to such small and medium enterprises.
Definitely. So I know a company in Sri Lanka, a software startup which provides that banking systems for small banks. The Samurdhi banks or the Sanasa banks that we have in the local ecosystems. So they are providing the systems for them. You might think, okay, what the Sanasa bank is doing with AI based system? They actually predict how their accounts going on and all. So
Correct.
that's a very very cool AI they have built onto their system, which has not like drawn their budget a lot.
All right, so that's interesting. So there are insights, there are examples who's really not really spending a lot of money, but still getting the AI services. So that's great to know. And I'll go back to one of the questions. I
And
have a list of questions. Yeah, go
for
on,
here,
Haritha.
I need to add one thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
So there's a very cool service. If you go for if you just search Q&A Maker on the internet, Microsoft Q&A Maker. So that's a simple website. You can just go, like anyone can go, and you can get your FAQ page of your website and just copy and paste your FAQ, and that'll just build a bot within 5 minutes. So that bot, can you integrate it for your Facebook page or might be your Instagram? So yeah, that's a place where you can build a chatbot, and that a place you can market. Okay, we have a chatbot in our system. That's it. 10
Right.
minutes, boom.
So I think that's a very, very important point. There are a lot of services out there. There are a lot of products out there. It's just that what we lack is awareness, maybe if I say it,
Yes.
to say so. So I think there is, I think these type of forums, these type of webinars is organized in line with getting that awareness up, because I think there's very little platforms that is available, especially for local marketers to have access. I think certainly this would be a very focused area for Slim as well into the future. So I think on that note, let me move on to another question, Haritha. It is asked that most of the behaviors are changed after pandemic, right, from outline to online, offline to online suddenly. So what do you think after all will be okay? Those behavior will come back in Sri Lankan market context. So I think what they're trying to ask is there is a shift between offline to online. Now, how do you think that this, what is the impact for the Sri Lankan market context on this? And maybe you could also suggest some of the solution that we could use to try and tackle RI into the solution.
Yes, this is one thing everyone is concerning right now because many people has moved their life patterns into the online space where some are not having any connection with the offlines right now. So like in the space of like making everything is online, so there is a very good opportunity for the marketers, I would say. So the marketing budget that you need to spend on doing a marketing campaign online is considerably low, I would say, to make it in an offline manner, because when it comes to the offline marketing manners, most of the things are like mass marketing campaigns that you need to do. But when it comes to the online, as I said previously, you have the power of data, because if a person is online, he's like generating a huge lot of personalized profile data, which you can use for marketing them. So that is a very good platform. I would say what the marketeers should do is definitely there is going to be a shift after this pandemic too. People are going to be using online a lot. So you should uh, like diverge your marketing campaigns into more online friendly way where they learn from the data that the users are generating in their online space.
Right. So, thanks, Haritha. Thank you very much for that clarification. Haritha, I have some very, technical know-how questions. I'm going to quickly read it through, so you could just give a
Yeah.
brief answer. There is a question from an undergraduate who's saying that I wish to create a website. Do you think I should get a paid domain or go with free domain with Wix, Wix, ads and their name mentioning in my web address? What's your opinion in this? So,
That totally depends on what you're going to create your website in. We'll say you're going to create this website for your personal use, or to use you as your personal web page. That's totally okay to go forward with a free domain and a free web hosting platform. But we'll say you're going to go forward with this in an enterprise, or you're going to make this thing a website for your product. In that case, definitely you have to go for your a paid domain, because it is going to make your business more legitimate and more credible.
all right. So another technical question: What is the recommended? What's the recommended free tool? What are the recommended free tools for A/B testing for a website? So a test for checking where website visitors mostly look at the web page. So he's asking what are the free tools for A/B testing for a website.
Uh, I'm not that sure about A/B testing, the free tools, but there are tools in Google Analytics, and also I know there are tools which is similar for Google Analytics from Tableau and all those things which can use in that case.
All right. So there's another one. How can exact audience data from FB to retarget? How can I think extract probably,
Extract, yeah.
yeah, extract audience data from FB to retarget and to profile, including contact details?
Right. This is a bit of a tricky question because Facebook has upgraded their privacy policy and everything after the case that we had 2 years back, the GDPR compliance case and all. So in that case, previously what they have done was they had something called a Facebook API, where you can leverage most of the user data, but there are some limits out there. But still, if the data is public, you have the ability to scrape those data from Facebook, but the limits of not using their personalized or the personal identifiable things, will say the date of birth, name, and those things cannot be harvested. But still, you have the ability to get the things from the Facebook API.
Yeah, so I think those are some technical questions. Thanks, Haritha, for those clarification. Now, I want to build on that last explanation that you gave. Now, AI is still new, and it's a growing industry. The regulations surrounding it are likely to change and tighten up over the coming years, especially like the episode you mentioned with Facebook 2 years ago. I'm sure there are many more such litigations to come. Right, so the collection and the use of data is already affecting companies. Like, for example, the use of data from EU-based customers is already limited because with the GDPR that you mentioned, that came into force in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, now mean that organization must take more care about the data and these customers is collected and used. So now, what is this conflict between privacy and AI? I mean, is it a fair, ethical way to market yourself or use this AI in marketing in these challenging circumstances? What's your view on that, Haritha?
Yes. So in the space here, like people are more concerned about the privacy, and with the terms like GDPR, people are having thoughts on like we don't want to expose our data into the systems, or we don't want to expose our personal data into the systems. But still, the AI is having the ability of using not personal data. And another thing that right now people are researching on is interpreting those personalized content in a different ways. Like in technical terms, we use the term of hashing or like masking the data, and then using those things in building the models or training the models. I would say in the future, people would more go forward with ethical AI and the AI that can be interpreted. Previously, most of the AI algorithms that we had, or the machine learning algorithms that we had, people explain those things as black boxes, right? We give the data and they give output. But now people are more concerned of getting some interpretable result, or like say, okay, we make this prediction based on this and that, something like that. So now what we seeing in the space is most of the machine learning algorithms or the AI techniques are developing or like making its shape with these interpretable AI concepts. So that will be one of the major advantages that people would have in the future when it comes to these privacy concerns and all.
Right. So yeah. So I think what you're saying is these address will be addressed in the future. So most of these challenges will overcome, and AI will turn its shape into something that is really looking after the interest of the people when it comes to privacy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. I mean, just building slightly on that. Again, going into a few questions. According to you, what's the future of AI for marketing? I mean, about in 25 years later.
So I would say most of the marketing campaigns that are going to be in the future would be based on AI. That means would be based on the data that they have collected in the past, as well as the predictions that we're going to make in the future. And another thing I would say, when it comes to like the marketing industry in the future, you might have to look on the new ways or the new channels that you can put your eye on. So in those cases, AI based products might be the next channel that you're going to see. We'll say the chatbots, or we'll say the robots that they're going to serve in the restaurants might be your next channel of marketing. So in those cases, you might have to deal with AI a lot and make AI another channel of your marketing campaigns.
All right. So that's great to know. So again, another question. Any tips for a marketer in creating a business case to justify AI investment to the management? I think this is connected with my previous question. Is it really expensive? Is it all worth it? How do you really justify such an investment to your board? How
So
do
I would
you?
say, yeah, I would say the major thing you can do is start off, like as I said previously, start off with the very simple things. analyze your previous sales and the things like just get rid of the boring bar charts or the pie charts and those things. Make a simple predictive model and apply your basic like normal typical legacy marketing materials on top of those sales and see how they're going to make a change in the future. And with that, you can convince your board saying, okay, we have made this much of a difference and we have identified the key areas that we need to improve. And by improving this thing, by not getting that much of an effort, we are definitely going to improve like this. So start simple and don't invest on huge infrastructure. That's the next thing I would say. So this is one of the major mistakes that most of the people are doing. So when they say, okay, we need to build some AI or we need to integrate some AI applications into our systems or into our company, what they do first is they get the hardware and they build those things, which is pretty expensive. Don't go for that. Just use, as I said previously, just use the services. And if that is not giving you the correct ROI, you can just get rid of those things, just like giving up a water bill or an electricity bill. So start off simple and always go for like platform as services.
Yeah, so thanks, Haritha, on that. And two more technical questions before I go back to my list of some of the challenges we face. The first one is there any tool for adding on the website for readers to read the content loud in the blog?
All right, I guess like Google Chrome is having some extensions out there, and also you can use something like text to speech in Microsoft Cognitive Services, which can do that thing. There are pretty similar things in Amazon and Google GCP space too.
So that's great. So I hope that clarified the question. Another one is, do you recommend to use Google AdSense for a website and why?
Uh, that totally depends on your business matter. If your business plan is to gain some revenue from Google Ads, yes, go for it. But if your revenue is not from ads, but from the products and the services that you sell on your website, don't go for Google Ads, because it's going to distract the user and it'll going to like get your use out from your website.
Right. Okay. So, Haritha, I mean, coming back to my set of questions, which I wanted to clarify, and I don't want to let you go without you giving me an answer to these. So, many applications of AI are now outperforming humans. You just presented some wonderful case studies. All right. So, at specific tasks such as game playing and diagnostic systems, now most of this has been achieved within the last decade through rapid progress using data-driven approaches that is centered on machine learning technologies and algorithms. Now, but there is a missing piece, Haritha. The criticism on AI is high tech is never and never will be equal to high touch. Marketing is all about being human centric, and how much more we're going to keep adapting machines to our endeavors. Now, how do we really strike a balance in this? Are we losing out the human touch in replacing it with machines? Is this the right way to go about? What's your view on this?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, because we all think of AI is going to be something like Terminator. So the case is like we think like we are going to lose the human touch. But the major theory or the major slogan that we keep on AI space is we also have to have like a switch key where we can get our control of the things. So it's something like human is in the loop. So if the AI is getting some anomalies and all, so human should have the ability to take the control of. So in those cases, I would say when it comes to marketing, where the people touch is more like the most valuable thing. In those cases, AI can be used to uplift that human touch, not to just destroy that thing. So it can be used for develop more creative things. So this is one example that I would like want to say. If you search something like GANs, generative adversarial networks, which were invented few years back. It is having the ability to generate images without the imagineering power of humans. So, but in that case, that is getting the inputs from the humans and learning a lot of data from humans. But human is having the control out of there. So in that case, I would say the future AI should have the that space where human can fit in and get into that loop.
Right. So thanks a lot, Harit. I'm hoping and looking forward for such an AI integration because my personal experience also with AI had not been very pleasant. There are many times that I have been called, I have been trying to call either my bank or my hotel or hospital that I kept sending from recording to recording to recording and then finally after minutes holding on to the call, the line gets cut off. So I think that type of AI is only pushing marketers away from AI-led experiences. And I think I'm hoping in the future things will be very different. And I really hope that professionals like you could really bring in value to kind of move organization out of such AI experiences in the way forward. And one question, I think we don't have much time, but still I try to squeeze in as much as possible. There's another question from the audience. Considering a business with a small set of customers, can we build up customer profiles based on those properly, or should we wait for a larger set of customers to build up customer profiles? So what his question is, can we do it with a small number of customers?
I would say yes. You can do it with a small number of customers too, because like starting off with small number of customers would be easier than go for a large set of samples, which is going to have a lot of deviations. So start off with the small set, and you can improve that thing when the customers are evolving and customers are increasing.
All right. So another question is, what are your thoughts on fashion-related AI in Sri Lanka in the future?
Yeah, that's a very good field that is coming in. I have seen most of the fashion related things are coming with AI. And one thing is wearable fashion, like wearable fashion where wearable AI things where they are adapting according to the temperature or the atmosphere they are in. And those things are going to be in the fashion. And most of the new designs are going to be created from things like GANs, as I said previously. And I would say, and as I said previously, that cloth fitting things that is coming with virtual reality and virtual AI based environments. So those things going to be the future of fashion in the world as well as in Sri Lanka.
All right. So I think my last question before we wrap, Haritha, I want to ask this out loud. I'm sure many of the marketers have that in their mind. So within marketing, AI's adaptation is increased year on year. We know that every year that there is adaptation that is growing up. Now, in varied contexts, like from providing service assistance during customer interaction to assisting in identification of optimal promotions. You talked a lot about that. Now, just as a question remains with regard to job automation, ethics and corporate responsibility. The marketing domain is facing its own concerns now. Now, AI has been seen as that, fierce monster that's come over to take over the marketing jobs. Now, we can explain how AI is enhancing marketing function, but in many people's mind, AI is here to take over marketers' jobs. What's your view, and what's the reassurance you want to give back to the marketers with regard to this?
So the reassurance that I can give is if you're going to be a dinosaur where you're not going to adapt the AI technologies into your career, definitely that's going to fire you up and that will definitely give the end of your career. But if you not being a dinosaur and adapt the data analytics and these AI based marketing strategies into your career, and that is going to create new opportunities for you and that is going to create new jobs for you. So don't be afraid, but make sure not to become a dinosaur. Just stay with those typical legacy systems or the marketing patterns and be adapt for the future and be adapt for the present.
Yeah, thank you very much, Haritha. I think I would like to continue, but then I think we have the time against us. So, on that note, thank you very much for sharing your almost 1.5 hours of time in really talking through some of the very challenging mindsets with some very insightful and inspirational information. So thank you very much for your time, Haritha. It's a great having this conversation with you. I'm sure the audience out there would have definitely benefited with this knowledge. And the aim of Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing is to prepare our marketers as future ready marketers is coming to reality. So thank you very much once again. I also like to give a big shout out to the membership and marketing divisions for contributing towards this webinar series, the project team. There's a lot of work behind this that's going on. I am the front face of this and together with my expert speakers, but behind the scenes, there's a lot of work, a lot of thinking that is gone in. A big shout out and a very big thank you to all of you. Now, don't forget to log in same time next week with the Future Ready Marketer webinar series. Next week, you're going to join another expert speaker who is coming to you from LinkedIn. She's going to talk about personal branding in the digital world. Very exciting topic. So stay tuned. Join us next week. I'll see you next Thursday, same time, same place. Until then, have a pleasant evening. Thank you very much once again, Haritha and the team.
Thank you, Aruz. Thank you.